Hello there. 9 days to go until we're free of lockdown at last. As long as your COVID passport is in order, with the correct health visas, of course. As per usual, please like, subscribe and comment below. And why not buy a mug with my mug on it? So despite all the previous assertions by government ministers to the contrary, as of this autumn, you'll not be allowed into pubs, clubs or restaurants unless your special passport shows you have been doubly inoculated, or you can prove you've had a negative test within the last 24 hours or so. Can you see Freedom Day evaporating away before your very eyes? And this will be mandatory. You will do as you're told if you wish to lead a normal life. And to stop the interminable testing, surely it makes sense to join the successful rollout and just get your pokes. And once this visa system is bedded in and fully trialled within the hospitality sector, one assumes it will be rolled out across society into all those places where humans dare to congregate. All for your safety, of course. Or to be more accurate, to prove you are no danger to others. In fact, I would speculate that access to supermarkets, then all shops, will go down the same route of requiring proof of inoculation or proof of negative test before you're allowed in. And eventually even home deliveries and access to things like insurance and even your own bank accounts will require one. All for your safety. In fact, I would say it would become rather impossible to buy or sell anything without providing some easily accessible form of identification proving you have been doubly inoculated or at least prove you have very recently tested negative. And isn't it marvellous to see the Labour Party and opposition leader Keir Starmer on side with all of this? Because whenever Boris talks about lockdown, Keir Starmer has a go at him, either for not locking down hard enough or fast enough, or bashing him for lifting restrictions too soon or too quickly. So we know what he'd do with the levers of power, don't we? And this is all because the younger people in our society are failing to step up to be poked. They obviously do not want to enjoy going abroad or venturing out for an evening in their once favourite watering holes. This, of course, is not what is required of them. No, they need to be incentivised. And when talking about these passports, one government minister told The Times, "If we can show real benefits of getting vaccinated in terms of everyday life, then it could be quite a useful tool." And what better benefit than having government permission to go to the boozer? So we must now all trust the pharmakeia that has been created to keep us safe and not question it. We must all do our bit and obey the state that always has our best interests at heart. We are so lucky that our government intends to create a two-tier society that could eventually lead to denial of access to health services and the ability to access the very basic essentials of life unless you have the right certificate, all to prevent the spread of this virus. And we should reflect our gratitude with total compliance and support at the ballot box for our benevolent government. We should put aside our morals, beliefs, political allegiances and principles to do as we are told, for our own safety and the safety of those around us. Ha! Gotcha there. None of that will really happen. Utter rubbish. That's what conspiracy theorists believe, so you can breathe a sigh of relief, because no government, especially a freedom-loving Tory government, would ever introduce such dystopian measures. Would they? I mean, freedom means going about your business without having to show your papers. So when Boris says no restrictions after Freedom Day the 19th of July, surely he means no papers. I mean, how can showing your papers to go and eat and drink be called freedom? And it won't be freedom for pubs, because it will shut them down for good. Kate Nichols, head of UK Hospitality, told Sky News that to check COVID passports, you would be putting door control on every pub, bar, restaurant, coffee shop, hotel, nightclub and music venue in the country. And that's simply not happening at the moment. You would see high levels of business failure, high levels of business closure, unless there was substantive government support. But at the same time, civil servants are being urged to get back to their London offices in order to help to get the local hospitality venues, like coffee and sandwich outlets there, back onto their feet. So those civil servants will need their pokes and certificates then. Moving on. A Scottish newspaper, The National, has called on the manager of the Italian football team, Roberto Mancini, to save the Scottish from an English win at the Euros. And its Saturday edition depicts Mancini as Braveheart. That newspaper must think the Scots are too delicate to withstand England winning a football match. And it shows how deep it thinks anti-Englishness is embedded in Scotland. And maybe it is, as The National says it ran a poll on who its readers would support. In a poll which is still live and can still be voted on, a massive 83% so far have said they'll be cheering on Roberto Mancini's Blues in Sunday's game. I think those south of the, at the moment non-existent, border would have to sadly admit this was entirely predictable and maybe slightly on the bitter side. Although in a follow-up piece online, The National did call their article banter. And it's joining in with its favourite president, Ursula von der Leyen of the EU Commission, who is obviously openly supporting Italy. But hey, if the trophy is secured by England, it'll be our turn, won't it? Then I wonder if the Scots would be calling the English childish for perpetually rubbing their noses in football came home. Banter works both ways, you know. And it seems that Scottish students have benefited from Brexit. Yes, according to a report in The Times, the number of EU student applications to university has fallen by 41%, or in real numbers 7,640. But there's been an increase of 11% in Scottish uni applicants and a 23% rise in applications from those outside of Europe, increasing the total applications by 10%. And Tom Harris, who led the Brexit campaign in Scotland, told The Telegraph, "It's great to see Scottish school leavers begin to take advantage of our new post-EU status by applying for university in greater numbers." But the SNP government said it had reluctantly had to scrap free tuition fees for new EU applicants who wanted to study in Scotland. This is not going to go down well in Brussels, their tame SNP not staying aligned with the EU at every opportunity, driving wedges between Scotland and the EU. What is Nicola Sturgeon thinking? Finally, a big thanks to my Patreon and PayPal supporters, and what's your opinion on Freedom Day? Please like and comment below.